Alrighty, good morning, folks. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me this morning as we go into some NBA player prop research here on PrizePicks. My name's CJ. If you have not been to this channel before, welcome. If it's your first time, hit the subscribe button. Make sure that notifications are turned on so that you don't miss any of the content that I put out. I typically go live Monday through Friday around 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And we do NBA player prop research. So if you're into that sort of thing, if you're into making a few extra dollars, this is the place to be. All right. Good morning to everybody up in the chat. I see we have a live and active crowd up in here. A live and active bunch. Jimmy G, what's happening? King Chris 20 back up in the building. Actually, both of those guys Patreon members. So appreciate your support. And I appreciate you showing up every morning ready to get down to business. We roll up our sleeves around here. We do the player prop research together. We're going to be talking about points, rebounds, assists, fantasy scores, three-point makes, free throw makes. So I appreciate everybody who supports through YouTube, through Patreon, through Discord. You know what I'm saying? Community effort, folks. Yesterday was a good day for me. How did it turn out for you guys? I ended up taking that special Wednesday taco that we got on Luka Doncic points. It was a sweat. Okay? I'm not going to say I felt great about it. All right? I was a little worried about Luka Doncic. They ended up getting blown out by the New York Knicks in Madison Square Garden. So it was definitely a sweat. But Luka came through, and the taco was good. We had us a good taco. Back on Taco Tuesday, we did not have so many good tacos. I think Klay Thompson was the only taco out of the three that were served up by PrizePicks that ended up working out. So PrizePicks, you guys redeemed yourselves. We, as the community out there, we thank you for that Luka Doncic taco. Anyway, I paired Luka Doncic up with my man Bogdan Bogdanovic of the Atlanta Hawks. Took both of them on their points props, took the over on both of them, ended up maxing out that Luka Doncic promo for $25, and they both hit. Both were a sweat, though. Definitely a sweat. So, ended up being a nice little triple up on $25. Ended up turning it into 75. Took full advantage of that taco yesterday. Hopefully, you folks were able to cash in on that taco as well. Scrolling through some of the other comments here, seeing some good conversations already happening about some player props and everything. Love it. Love it. Hopefully, we're all getting sharper as player prop bettors, PrizePicks players. Hopefully we're all getting a little bit better and growing together through these live streams, through the content that I put in on Discord and Patreon. That's my goal, is to help everybody out, to open your mind up, expand your thinking when it comes to playing these player props. We don't want to just go in here and click, blindly Steph Curry over because he's so good, Giannis Antetokounmpo because he's so good. We're going to just take the overs on everybody. No, we gotta do a little bit more digging. And so hopefully you guys are picking up on all of that. Clayton says he's liking some Ingram assists and Josh Hart points. Well, that might be a good play, but we don't know yet. This is our first look. So hold off on your picks and plays. If you want me to look at something specific, leave it at the end of the show. And that way I don't have to scroll through all the comments and try to figure out who's saying what you guys are liking. JY2234 says, great Patreon community. I love sweating the LeBron James and Bogdanovich points last night with y'all. Hey man, I appreciate it as well. Like I said, we don't have anything, super crazy going on. Nothing high tech, nothing fancy in there. I'm not selling you, a whole bag of lies or anything like that. Any false hope or promises. We're going to have to put the work in. We're going to come together as a community, put our heads together. The more heads we have together, the better. It's hard to do this alone. It's hard to go at it by yourself and try to be successful day in and day out. So having some folks in there in a community setting, in a community format that you could bounce ideas off of is definitely helpful. Lowballer73, thank you for reminding people to hit that like button. We went for 200 likes for the second day in a row, y'all. I might have to start making that the new line. 199.5 might be the new line on these likes. And then, I'm going to always take the over because I have complete and utter confidence in each and every one of you that you will support. Aaron Rodgers is back up in here. He's getting ready for a big bye week in the first week of the playoffs. Shout out to you, Aaron Rodgers. Ronald's Green, what's happening? He's here every morning with that what's up, man. Love the consistency. Solid dude. Preddy, good to see you. Zach, let's get it. Bry says, sucks. I can't do prize picks because I don't have a job right now and have COVID. Oh my goodness. My man's down bad. Yeah, he's doing a little bit of self-promotion here. I think everybody who's in here is pretty much already on prize picks, buddy. Sorry about that, though. Sounds like you're going through it. Todd, what's happening? Marco, what's up? Good to see everybody up in here. Steven, he's leaving the little emoji with the little peace sign. Love that. Smile and a peace sign. Good way to start your morning. JW, good to see you. Nick is back up in here. Good morning. Thanks for the 2-pick yesterday. Nice triple up. Yes, the 2-pick ended up being a nice little triple up. Never a bad day when you can triple your money up. Scrolling through here, we got a super chat from our man David. David came through yesterday with that Lauri Markkanen over 1.5 3-point makes. Guys, if you didn't play it, well, you missed out. It ended up hitting. It ended up working out. So thank you again, David, for leaving that Lauri Markkanen play. It looks like he's going to have something for us later on. He's cooking up something. Gotta love it. My man, who dat? Coming through with the nice picks. Sean, good to see you. Got that like in. Appreciate you, Sean. Who else is up in here this morning? Man, you guys are just slamming. Good morning. Juan Julio says, let's get that mozzarella provolone, y'all. He's talking about that cheddar, that cheese. He wants to put a few extra bucks in his pocket. Can't blame him. That's why we're here. That's what we intend on doing. Caleb, good morning to you. Let's get these golden nuggets. Yes, sir. Taylor says go Bucks. He's ready to win some beer money for that game on Sunday against that one team. He's talking about my birds, my Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly, by the way. Fly, Eagles, fly. I've been living in Tampa my whole life. Never been a big Bucks fan. It's all about the birds for me, y'all. The game's going to be a wet and rainy, windy game. I think that plays into the Eagles' favor with our mobile quarterback, with our plethora of running backs. Let's get it. Eagles for the upset. Let's go. Abuelo BDG, good morning to you. Brandon, what's happening? Thanks for joining. Dan T's up in the building. Let's do this, brothers and sisters. That's right, we got some sisters up in here. We can't leave the ladies out. Andy says he wants to deposit $225 to play with, accidentally deposited $250. Well, hey, just manage that money, my friend. Manage that money. You'll be all right. We're going to multiply those dollars for you. JC, we are feeling good, my friend. Thanks for asking. JMN, what it do? Let's get it. Raynard back up in here, ready to win some cash. Angel, what's happening? Shane, he hit on Dinwiddie. Yeah, Dinwiddie was another play that I was liking yesterday. Dinwiddie, by the way, still at 100% hit rate, covering 16.5 points without Bradley Beal. He did it again yesterday, y'all. So if you're sleeping on that, don't sleep on Spencer Dinwiddie when Bradley Beal is out of the lineup. 16.5 points has been easy street for Dinwiddie. Dalton's up in here. What's happening to you, Dalton? Andrew, top of the morning. Vihande. You see, I still got it, my friend. I still got it. Cameron, what's up to you? Delvin's back up in here. He's talking about he made $750 last night on a five-pick flex with the Lakers and Kings on second half bets. I did see that in the winner circle in Discord. Shout out to you, Delvin, man. Nice hit. Tony, good morning. Yesterday was a good hump day. Yes, it was. I think overall, most of us did pretty well. Good to see Mac B up in here. Patreon gang. Boss Mac up in the building. Run my boys' likes up, all right? Before we send the goons to come visit you, okay? Don't make us send the goons. Me and Mac B will show up, man. Ski mask with the strap. Don't make us get the strap. All right, hit the like button before Mac B shows up at your doorstep. Juju, what's up? No need to fear. CJ is here. Yes, I'm in the building. Nick, let's go. Boom. You flex at me, I flex back, my friend. Nice to see you. Max, you're leaving some picks, some plays. Loving it. Hold off on those, though, and I'll look into them for you at the end of the show. Ja, what's happening to you? Travis, hit the like button. You heard my man. Go Birds. Angel's a Birds fan. All right, Angel, you're my dude. Yeah, y'all laughing like it's a game. Say Mac B won't show up at your house. Say Mac B won't show up with that stick on him. All right, y'all. Enough of the funny games. We got to get down to business. We got 5 NBA games to talk about. Let's start things off here. Golden State Warriors at the Milwaukee Bucks. This is going to be the marquee matchup of the night. This game is one that I am definitely looking forward to. 224 implied point total, 1.5 point spread in favor of the Milwaukee Bucks. Over on the Golden State Warriors side, we got to keep an eye on Dre Day. Is it Draymond Green Day or not? He's a game time decision right now. Looking at the Milwaukee side, we got Drew Holiday and George Hill, their backcourt, both game time decisions. No Brook Lopez, no Grayson Allen for the Bucks. So the key ones there, obviously Draymond Green, Drew Holiday. But I love the total, love the spread. Looks like it's going to be high scoring and competitive. Gotta love it, gotta love it. 8 p.m., Los Angeles Clippers at the New Orleans Pelicans, 215 implied point total. Easy for me to say. New Orleans, 3.5 point favorite, surprisingly, at home. But we know this Clippers squad, they are dealing with a bunch of injuries. I read something interesting about the Clippers recently. Sounds like they're open to dealing Marcus Morris and some of these other veterans. Sounds like they're ready to pack up shop and that they don't see themselves in the playoff picture this season. You can't blame them, right? Paul George, Kawhi Leonard have been sidelined a lot this year. So sounds like they're an open market, man. They might be flipping some of these players, might be making some trades. We'll have to see what happens. Game time decisions, though, for Paul George, Winslow, Wright, Kennard, and Kawhi Leonard. I don't know why Kawhi Leonard's a game time decision. They said that he has no timetable for return. I doubt we see him this season. Why bring him in? Why put any extra mileage on his poor body? Hartenstein and Preston both ruled out for the Clippers. Over on the New Orleans side, Alvarado, game time decision. Zion Williamson. Poor Zion Williamson, still out for the New Orleans Pelicans. That means Herbert Jones, everyone's favorite guy, Herbert Jones, will be back in the lineup tonight. No Kira Lewis Jr. for New Orleans. 8 p.m., Minnesota at Memphis. We got the Wolves versus the Bears. 231 point total. These first three games on the slate, by the way, probably going to be my favorite ones. These are the only ones that look like they're kind of high scoring and expected to stay close and competitive, which for me are my favorite games to target in terms of taking overs. All right, 231 points, though, 4.5 point spread in favor of the home team, the Memphis Grizzlies. Impactful injury news? Not really. I guess over on the Grizzlies side, Dillon Brooks and Steven Adams are guys you definitely want to keep your eye out on. Before you lock any props, make sure you see if Steven Adams is in or out, if Dillon Brooks is in or out. I would imagine if Brooks is in, it's going to impact guys like Desmond Bane, probably Ja Morant too. So no, let's not go falling in love with clicking stuff early, all right? This game right here, there's some definite injury implications that we want to keep our eye out on. Nonetheless, though, big time total here and a nice little spread, 4.5 points. 8:30 p.m., Oklahoma City Thunder at the Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn, they came up in there and they got Chicago up out of there last night. Brooklyn looking good. 217 points on this game. I expect this one to probably be a blowout. I don't know how it's just a 7.5 point spread or 7 point spread, to be honest with you. If Harden and Durant come to play, yes, they're on a back-to-back, but if they come to play, then they can, I think, get Oklahoma City out of there in the first half. So got to keep an eye on Claxton and Aldridge for Brooklyn. Both of the big guys are both game time decisions. Mann, Roby, and Williams for OKC, all GTDs. And finally, the last game, Portland at Denver, 10 p.m. Eastern time, 213 implied point total, 10 point spread. So this was another one that looks like blowout city potentially because Portland is without a lot of their big names. Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum. Dame is a game time decision according to Number Fire. Keep an eye on him. CJ McCollum should not be in there tonight. He is already ruled out. We got Norman Powell and Anthony Simons, both game time decisions as well. So that could definitely swing things in the favor of Portland. If those three guys, Lillard, Powell, and Simons are in, then maybe they've got a little bit of a chance of keeping this game close. Larry Nance Jr., another name. He is already ruled out for this one. Over on the Denver side, we know that Porter and Dozier have been out pretty much all season. Kankar, Howard, Barton, and Murray game time decisions. Barton's probably the only one that has a realistic chance of playing, at least of the names that matter between him and Murray. I don't think Murray's on his way back anytime soon, but keep an eye on Will Barton, Trill Barton. All right? Cool. So that's going to be it. 5 games, folks. What are we thinking here? Like I said, I think for me, the first 3 games on the slate, are going to be the ones that I'm most interested in. Golden State, Milwaukee, Los Angeles Clippers at New Orleans. That one looks like it's going to stay close. And then finally, Minnesota and Memphis. These other two games, you know me, a little bit of a degenerate. Probably have some action on these games as the night rolls on. But, just a 5-game little slate here. Nothing too crazy going on, right, folks? But it's an opportunity for us to get some money. Hopefully you guys got some money. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That Damian Lillard game time decision, he's out indefinitely. They said that he's supposed to be having some kind of surgery or something, right? I don't know why they got him as a game time decision. Maybe they're going to pump him full of, get right medicine and send him in there. Nah, they wouldn't do that to him, would they? They wouldn't do my man Dame like that, would they? I think Dame's going to be out, like you guys are saying. Don't know why he's on there as a GTD, but yeah, no Lillard tonight. All right? Cool. Thanks for helping me out, chat. Love it. And you think Draymond's going to be out as well, huh? Interesting. Okay, cool. All right, let's get down to business. We're going to be looking at some points props to start things off, as we always do. And, I like to reference props.cash, one of my favorite ways to do player prop research. If you're not signed up on props.cash yet, check down in the description below. I got a little bit of a promo link, a promo code that'll get you 25% off your first month of props.cash when you use code Curry. And you can also take advantage of a 100% instant deposit match on PrizePicks using promo code Curry. Promo code Curry for everything in your life, okay? Taking over the world with promo code Curry. One site at a time. All right, looking at these points, do we trust Kevon Looney at 5 points? Why does this look so good, folks? Why does this look too low? This guy starts. He'll be starting for the Golden State Warriors. He's going up against the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. And we already talked about Draymond Green should be out for Golden State. He is at 5.5 points on most of your favorite sports books out there. He has covered this prop, as you can see, in 5 straight games. 6 is his favorite number. 6. Oh, that's the number of Satan. We got to keep adding 6. 6 and 6. So he's Mr. Consistent when it comes to scoring 6 points, it looks like. 6 points. 90% of the time at 5.5 points. In the last 10 games, he has covered this. So that's 9 out of 10 games. Do we think Kevon Looney is that dude again? Is he going to get 6 points one more time? One more again? I don't know. Let's look at it. Center position against the Milwaukee Bucks. Let's go see how many points per game they're giving up to opposing bigs. Well, look, they're giving up 24.4 points per game to centers over the last 7 games. We don't need him to get 24.4. All we need is 6, ideally. 5 would be cool too. I mean, if we pushed, I guess that's okay. But they're giving up over 24 points per game. So I would say that he's got a real shot here of putting in at least 3 buckets, 6 points. All right, looking like a decent matchup on paper anyway, on paper. Let's go ahead and pull up Kevon Looney here. His projections are looking pretty good. 6.1 points. He's projected, according to the Action Labs tools, to go for 6.1 points. Now at 5.5 points. Seeing some action on the under at 5.5 points, which is why he's at 5 right now on PrizePicks. Is this a trap? I don't know, man. Kevon Looney, though. Kevon Looney, 5 points. 90% hit rate at 5.5 points. 100% hit rate here at 5 points over his last 5 games. Looks like a decent matchup against Milwaukee. I mean, maybe it's worth taking a shot on. I don't know. Not sure. But it looks pretty good. Looks pretty good, huh? Pat Beverly, another guy at 9.5 points here. 80% hit rate over his last 10 games. 80% hit rate over his last 10 games at 9.5 points. We look at the last 5 games, it's been even better for Pat Bev. Covering 9.5 points in 5 straight games. 100% hit rate, averaging almost 13 points per game. He's going up against Memphis tonight. So what do we think of this matchup? This guy's been getting it done, huh? Been getting it done. We'll go to the point guard position. We'll head on over to points. We'll find the Memphis Grizzlies. We don't have to go down very far. Memphis giving up, just outside the top 10 most points per game to opposing point guards. About 24.5 points over the last 7 games. So maybe Beverly finds himself, kind of like Kevon Looney. These guys aren't known to be high-volume shooters and scorers. but maybe he finds himself getting 10 points tonight against Memphis. We know this game's going to be pretty high scoring. Should stay close, competitive. So I think he's got a real shot here at covering 9.5 points. Once again, let's pull up a projection on Patrick Beverley here. I got him projected for 8.8, so he's not a projection darling, we'll call him, at just 8.8 points. Even if we roll it up to 9, we round up to 9 points. That's not enough to get it done either, according to the projections. Now, he is at 9.5 points on a couple of different sites, and at 9.5, the public on 2 of the sites are betting the under. One site, they are betting the over. So it kind of gives you a little bit more of an insight here, a little bit more of a picture of Patrick Beverley. Barely got it done in the last game against New Orleans with 10 points. It's going to be a sweat. Looks like one of those where it could be a sweat. He's shown some 20-point pop, though, in the last 5 games. Don't know if he's going to do that tonight, but, he could. Let's see. What else are we talking about here? We got Andrew Wiggins. Now, we know Klay Thompson's back in the lineup here for Golden State. And I think that it's safe to say at this point that he has an impact on Andrew Wiggins. Now, you're going to see Andrew Wiggins probably at 16.5 points on most sites, most books. But PrizePicks, they have taken a more conservative number on Andrew Wiggins. He's at 15.5 points. 2 straight games, coincidentally, with Klay Thompson back in the lineup, Andrew Wiggins has failed to cover 15.5 or 16.5 points. He's gone under in back-to-back games with 10 and 13 points, respectively. Do we think he struggles again tonight against a Milwaukee Bucks team that has the defenders that can give Andrew Wiggins fits? Guys like Chris Middleton, guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't know who's matching up with Andrew Wiggins, but this could be another tough night for Wiggins. Let's go look at the matchups here. Let's see how the Milwaukee Bucks have done against opposing small forwards. Because now that Klay's in, Wiggins more of that small forward. We know Klay's more of the 2 guard. We've got Klay and Curry in the backcourt. So we'll go find the Milwaukee Bucks. They're giving up about 22.5 points. That's actually pretty good. That's a good matchup here, according to what we're seeing here in the last 7 games. Milwaukee giving up 22.5 points to opposing small forwards. Just for fun, let's just look at the shooting guard spot. Milwaukee giving up about 25 points per game. So it looks like they are struggling here to guard opposing wings. Shooting guards, small forwards, not the easiest matchup, or not the best defensive stats, I should say, for the Milwaukee Bucks. So it does look like a decent matchup here for Andrew Wiggins. But the Klay Thompson factor does worry me a little bit. Does give me some pause when considering taking the over on Wiggins. Now, I've got Andrew Wiggins projected for nearly 20 points tonight. As I mentioned, he is at 16.5 points on most sites out there. I'd feel a little bit better if he was at 16.5 on PrizePicks, taking the under. But again, for me, looking at this Milwaukee Bucks defense, they are giving up quite a few points to shooting guards and small forwards. So Wiggins should have a real chance at potentially going over 15.5 points. Maybe he finally kind of gets right here. I don't know, but they expect Klay Thompson to play once again, despite the fact that he's still kind of working his way back, knocking off some of that rust. So that's going to be a difficult prop, I think. That's going to be a difficult prop. Whoa. Doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo. George Gonzalez dropping a Woj bomb. It's apparent we have a trade that has just went down in the NBA. Cam Reddish of the Atlanta Hawks has been traded to the New York Knicks. No word on what the Hawks have received from the Knicks in return. Interesting. That's a real big shakeup. Do we think that there's any chance that maybe they're trying to clear some room, whether that be cap space, roster space, for a potential even bigger Woj bomb? Are they bringing Ben Simmons to Atlanta? The Hawks got picks. If the Hawks got picks, they could flip those picks to the 76ers for Ben Simmons potentially. I'm just saying. Trill Fate, you're rocking with it, right? Clearing space for Ben Simmons, huh? Kind of seems like one of those preliminary moves that you make to go after the big catch, the big fish, which would be Ben Simmons. Wow. Ben Simmons ends up on the Hawks. That's scary. I'm a little scared of that for the rest of the league. All right. Looking at some of these other props here in terms of points. Thank you, by the way, for leaving that in chat. Ant Edwards at 20.5 points. Listen, at 21.5 points, he's been covering in the last 10 games at a 70% clip. At 20.5 points, been getting it done in the last 5 games. He's gone over 20.5 in 4 out of the last 5 games. We already talked about this game being one of those types of games that's going to be high scoring. Looks like it's going to stay close, competitive. Not really worried about a blowout, in other words. So maybe Anthony Edwards is in play here. He's averaging 24.2 points per game over his last 5 games. So let's go look at the matchup. Edwards, I guess he's kind of more of like a small forward, wouldn't you say, with Patrick Beverley and D'Angelo Russell in the backcourt. Kind of forces him into maybe like the small forward spot. So let's go look at this matchup against the Memphis Grizzlies. Going down the way here, they're giving up the third fewest points per game to opposing small forwards, 15.7 points per game. Difficult matchup here if you're a small forward. Just for fun, we're going to look at the shooting guard spot. I like looking at both wing positions. Memphis giving up just 20 points per game to opposing shooting guards in the last 7 games. So no matter which way you slice it, cut it, it's looking like a tough matchup for Anthony Edwards. Whether you call him a shooting guard or a small forward, I just would be a little cautious here in this one. Pulling up a projection for you on Anthony Edwards. I got him projected for 23.2 points. Now he is at 21.5 points on a number of different sites, a number of different books. At 21.5 points, every site right now, he is a betting favorite to go over 21.5. So the public's taking the over. The projections are saying maybe we should be thinking about the over. We're getting 1 point of value. In other words, he is at 20.5 on PrizePicks versus 21.5 over on your favorite sports book. And he's covered this in 4 out of his last 5 games, 80% hit rate. And a 70% hit rate at 21.5 points over the last 10 games. So maybe he's in play, but again, this is one of those ones where he is coming in a point lower than where we're seeing him on most of your sports books, kind of like Andrew Wiggins. But the matchup doesn't look great. So I think we're going to be in some difficult decisions here. Looking at another guy here, Steph Curry. For me, Steph Curry is probably in play at 25.5 points if and only if Drew Holiday is out of there. If Drew Holiday is in, I'm going to back off of Steph Curry a little bit. I'm going to back off on Steph Curry if Drew Holiday is in. Drew Holiday, one of the best defenders at the point guard position, still, after all these years, one of the best defenders. So I like Steph at 25.5 points to go over if Drew is out once again. So I'm going to kind of wait and see until we get a definitive answer. Drew Holiday in, Drew Holiday out. But at 26.5 points, which again is 1 point higher than where Steph is today at 25.5, at 26.5 points over the last 10 games, Curry's covered in 70% of those games. Things have been a little harder here in the last 5 games, a little more difficult. But in the 2 games with Clay back, he's actually covered his points prop in both of those games. 28 against Cleveland, they're a tough team. 27 against Memphis, they're a pretty tough team too. So again, if Drew is out, I'm definitely on board with some Steph Curry over 25.5 points. Let's go look at the point guard position for the Milwaukee Bucks and see how many points per game over the last 7 games they're giving up. 22.1. Now this number is starting to go up because Drew Holiday has been out of the lineup. But if I go back to the last 15 games here and we look at that, obviously those games having Drew Holiday in the lineup, more of them, 20.8, the number goes down. Now, if I go back even further and look at the last 30 games, Milwaukee, 22. So there's somewhere between 20 and 22 points over the course of the season, depending on how many games you want to go back. But right now, looks like they're giving up a few more points per game without Drew Holiday in the lineup. So let's go pull a projection for Steph Curry. I got him going for 33 points. Man, that seems like a high number. 33 points against Milwaukee tonight. You guys think he gets it done? 33 points? Do we have a 30 burger lined up for Chef Curry? I don't know. Maybe. He is at 26.5 points, as I mentioned, on a number of different sites. At 26.5 points, the public right now putting their cold, hard cash on the under at 26.5. Should be a fun game, though. And I expect Curry to to be ready to go, to be primed and ready to take on the Milwaukee Bucks. All right, so that's enough about the overs. Let's see if there's any unders worth talking about. Guys with low hit rates, Do we want to go Reggie Jackson? I want to say that typically against New Orleans, it's a pretty good matchup for point guards. So let's go take a look at it. The only reason I'm mentioning Reggie Jackson because at 16.5 points, he's only covered this prop in 30% of his games over the last 10 games. And you can kind of see up on the screen here, over the last 5 games, just a 20% hit rate or cover rate at 16.5 points. 1 out of his last 5. So it's been a struggle for Reggie Jackson to find 17 or more points. So we got to go look at the matchup against New Orleans. Now, exactly what I was talking about here. Over the last 7 games, New Orleans given up 25.6 points per game to point guards, which is the sixth most. Very favorable matchup here for Reggie Jackson and point guards in general. So, yeah, the hit rates look pretty poor for Reggie Jackson, but this could be a spot for him to get right. It just could be. It's just looking like that. Pulling up a projection for Reggie Jackson, I got him going for 16.4 points. 16.4. We got 3 different sites, 3 different books right now at 16.5. We're seeing him being taken on the over, meaning people think he will score 17 or more against this juicy matchup here against the New Orleans Pelicans, giving up the 6th most points per game over the last 7. 2 point guards. So another one of those tricky situations. We got a number of tricky ones, right? We need to wait and see on Steph Curry and his points prop. Is Drew in? Is Drew out? Andrew Wiggins, he's a point lower than where you're going to find him on most sites at 15.5 instead of 16.5. But the matchup, looking a little dicey. Don't know. And then we talked about, who was the other guy we talked about? Oh, Anthony Edwards. He's a point lower going up against Memphis. Memphis doing a pretty good job defensively, though. So there's a lot of question marks on some of these high hit rate guys. And then we had guys who are just like crushing their prop that we just never feel really comfortable about. Pat Beverly at 9.5 points. Do we want to take the over on him? I don't know. You know, it's risky. And then we got Kevon Looney, who's Mr. 6-point scorer for like 5 straight games. He's in a pretty good spot against the Milwaukee Bucks. But again, he's not like one of those guys that you feel super confident in taking because he just doesn't get a lot of shots up. Just doesn't get a lot. All right, that's enough about points props. Let's go ahead and take a look at some rebounds. See who's been cleaning the glass at a high rate and who hasn't. Who's got dirty glass? Malcolm bringing up a good point. Cam Reddish and RJ Barrett reunited, former Duke Blue Devils. Man, they were a nice little tandem. Back in Cameron Indoor, weren't they? That is kind of cool that they're back together. That could be fun. You guys go ahead. If you have not liked the stream yet, I'll give you a second to do so. Grabbing some H2O. All that point prop talk's got me parched. All right, let's look at the high hit rebounders. They're not going to give us Lou Dort tonight, folks, because Lou Dort's been the man at 3.5 rebounds. 80% hit rate on Lou Dort over the last 10 games. I took Lou Dort in my entry last time he played, and he ended up hitting again. So they're keeping Lou Dort away from us, far away from us. They don't want us to have Lou Dort. What do we think about Marcus Morris? This guy here at 5.5 rebounds, 60% hit rate. He's coming off of 2 games in a row now, one against Atlanta, one against Denver, where he fell short. I took him on the over against Denver, thinking this is the game where he finally gets right, but it wasn't. As you can see, 2 rebounds against the Nuggets. Thought maybe he'd be a little extra motivated going up against Nikola Jokic. You know, you got the Morris twins versus the Jokic brothers, that little rivalry. Thought maybe Marcus Morris would be a little fired up. He wasn't fired up, though. Came up with just 2 rebounds. I think the Jokic brothers win. I think they beat down the Morris twins. What do you guys think? Those are some big boys, them Jokic boys. Marcus Morris, though. 5.5 rebounds, 60% hit rate. He's got a 40% hit rate here in the last 5. Do you think he finally snaps out of it and finds a few more boards? Let's go look at the matchup here. He's going up against the NOP, New Orleans Pelicans. Scroll on down the list here. Don't have to go too far. They're about halfway down the line here, halfway down the list. They're giving up about 10.7 rebounds per game to opposing power forwards. So he'll probably be matched up with the likes of Herbert Jones and Brandon Ingram. And we know Jonas Valanciunas and Ivica Zubac are going to be in the middle too. They're going to be wrestling down in the paint for rebounds. Maybe Marcus Morris finds himself on the right side of 5 rebounds if we're looking to take the over tonight. Let's go pull up a projection. We're going to go back to the action projection tool by Fantasy Labs, and we will type in Morris's name. I got him projected for 5.2 rebounds. Now, what's interesting on this prop is that I'm seeing him at 2 different numbers on 2 different sites. We got him at 4.5 on one site, minus 155 to cover 4.5. That's pretty strong odds. But then we're getting him at 5.5 on another site, minus 130 to go under 5.5. So somewhere between 4.5 and 5.5 lies 5 rebounds, which is why PrizePicks is kind of splitting the difference here. They got him at 5 rebounds. I'd like to think that this guy finally gets right. He finally gets his act together and finds 6 boards after going for 2 and 2. Pretty bad rebounding output. But, his name is being mentioned in trade rumors and stuff. Who knows how that affects a guy like Marcus Morris psychologically. Maybe he's given up. I don't know. Hard to figure it out. We talked about Herbert Jones briefly at 4.5 rebounds, 60% hit rate on him as well. He's another guy who's been slumping over the last 2 games in the rebound department. Who do you feel more confident in? Herbert Jones at 5 rebounds or Marcus Morris at 6 rebounds? I think one of these guys is probably destined to finally get back to where they were. Herbert Jones, more the power forward role. He's going up against the Clippers tonight. Looking at this matchup against the Clippers, they're giving up about 10.5 boards. They're right behind New Orleans. They're both giving up about 10 to 11 rebounds per game over the last 7 games to power forwards. Which kind of puts them down in the middle of the pack. Heading on over here, we'll pull a projection up for Jones. 4.7 projected rebounds. That's a lot closer to 5 than it is 4, isn't it, folks? At 4.5 boards, he is a betting favorite, minus 135 to go over 4.5 rebounds. So, looking like a decent matchup, right? This team, the Clippers, giving up over 10, almost 11 rebounds per game to power forwards. Herbert Jones just needs to find 5 rebounds. He's in a little bit of a slump, both him and Morris. I think one of them gets it done tonight, though. Just have a good feeling about it. Josh Hart, another guy at 8.5 boards. Last 10 games have been pretty good for Mr. Hart. 60% hit rate for Josh Hart at 8.5 boards. You look over to the last 5 games, he has covered this number in 80% of those games. Rebounded the basketball really well. You wouldn't think for a guard, a point guard, shooting guard, whatever you want to call Josh Hart, that he'd be getting on the glass like he is, but he's starting to kind of turn into like a great value brand, a poor man's Russell Westbrook, the way that this guy fills it up. He's getting some points, he's getting some rebounds, he's getting some assists. He does a little bit of everything for the Pelicans. So let's look at this matchup against the Clippers and see how many rebounds per game they're giving up to the different guard spots. Point guard, shooting guard. I think that's fair to call him a point guard or shooting guard. Now the Clippers, they're giving up 9.9, nearly 10 rebounds per game to point guards. So a plus matchup here. That's the first most rebounds allowed to point guards over the last 7 games. We look at the shooting guard position. Clippers giving up 8.3 rebounds per game to opposing 2 guards. Second most. First most to point guards, second most to shooting guards. Great matchup. Great matchup here on paper. On paper for Josh Hart. So we head on over here. We get a projection for Josh Hart. I got him going for 9.1 boards, which is enough for us to take the over. One site right now has him as a betting favorite at minus 125 to cover 8.5 boards. So there you go. Josh Hart been getting it done at 8.5 rebounds, 60% hit rate over the last 10, 80% hit rate over the last 5, averaging 9.2 rebounds, projected to go over, betting favorite to go over, facing a team giving up the first most rebounds to point guards, the second most rebounds to shooting guards. Should be a decent spot for Josh Hart. Appreciate you folks joining. I'm seeing a lot of love for the Jokic Mafia versus the Morris twins. It says the Jokic brothers got kicked out of the family. plus staff basketball game hosted by the Nuggets for being too aggressive. Yeah, I don't know what they're serving up over there in Serbia or wherever Jokic is from, but dude is something else. Jokic and them big old boys, I wouldn't want no part of them. And I'm a big old boy myself, but they're on a different level of big, a level that I will never be on. Unfortunately, I'm done growing. 6'4" is about as tall as I'm ever gonna get. Raymond says, really appreciate all the work you do. Well, thank you so much, Raymond. Honestly, that really that means a lot to me. I love doing what I do. I love getting on here, chopping it up with you folks, helping you to land on some winning picks, hopefully. So I appreciate all the support. Morris Mob forever. Morris Mob forever. I love it, man. I love it. All right, so those are some of your some rebound props to consider. Other guys who are hitting at around like a 60% rate. We got Joe Val. We've got Jaren Jackson Jr. But for me, I got to wait and see on Steven Adams. Is Steven Adams in or out? That's going to definitely impact Jaren Jackson Jr.'s rebounds. So I'm going to kind of wait and see. Take the wait and see approach on those guys. What about some low hit rate, some under options for you? Do we want to go under on Chris Middleton? Well, we can't because he's not up on the PrizePicks board, but maybe you can get him somewhere else. All right, maybe you could go take Chris Middleton under 6.5 rebounds somewhere else because at 6.5 boards, he's covered in just 20% of his last 10 games. He's not getting it done, especially with Giannis and Bobby P back in the lineup. I think it's been harder, a lot harder for Chris Middleton to cover his rebound prop. Another guy that is at a low hit rate that we can possibly look at, Nick Batum. He's at 4.5 boards on most sites out there. He's at 4 over on PrizePicks because of his low hit rates. And I'm imagining the betting public's probably taking the under on Nick Batum. We're getting him at 4. Over the last 10 games at 4.5 rebounds, just a 20% hit rate. Now, things have changed a little bit for Batum over the last few games. You could see he had this long layoff between December 26th and January 6th. So if we look at the last 4 games, he's actually gone for 4 or more rebounds in 3 out of 4. That's a 75% hit rate at 4 or more. So this could be a deceiving game log. If we look at the last 10 games, that also could be a bit of a deceiving game log. So look beyond the game logs. Consider who was in, who was out for the Clippers when Nick Batum was struggling to rebound the basketball. I know he was a little beat up. I know he was dealing with some injuries. Look at the more recent sample size here, though. From January 6th through the 11th, again, 75% hit rate at 4 or more boards. So this could be a trap. Don't fall in love with the 10-game, 20% hit rate of him going under, okay? Don't do that. Got to dig a little bit deeper, guys. A little bit deeper. Looking at this matchup against the Pelicans, we talked about his teammate Morris being in a pretty good spot. Batum, kind of more of the small forward. I think that's fair. We go find the New Orleans Pelicans. They are giving up the 3rd fewest rebounds per game to small forwards over the last 7 games. So could be another tough night in Nick Batum's future. 3rd fewest. Let's pull a projection up on Batum. Got him projected for 5.3 rebounds. He's at 4.5 on a couple of different books. We're seeing big -160 betting favorite to go under. Big odds there to go under 4.5, which is why he's at 4 on PrizePicks. Oh, yeah. You guys mentioned earlier, it's looking like a tough night. It's looking like a little bit of a tough night. What happened to the unders? Oh, they've always been there. 9 Ether God. We just discussed one for you. Nick Batum. Okay. The unders are still there. Let's move it on over to the assist column, the assist category. Let's see who's been dropping dimes at a high hit rate and who hasn't been. Let's look at it. This guy, high hit rate, 3.5 assists. 3.5 assists for Karl Anthony Towns has been easy lately. The last 10 games, he's covered this in 80% of his games. We look at the last 5, also sitting in 80%. He's going up against Memphis tonight. 5.4 assists per game over the last 5 games. That's almost 2 assists higher than his line of 3.5 tonight. So it's looking pretty good here for Karl Anthony Towns. Even against OKC, he had 3, which kind of puts you close enough to say, hey, let's Let's maybe go back to this, right? Looking pretty good here for Cat. Let's look at the matchup. He's going up against Memphis tonight. We'll go over to the assist category. Memphis giving up 3.8 dimes per game, which is like right around the top 10 most over the last 7 games. So I would say that Karl Anthony Towns' assists should be worth looking at if you're looking to take the over. Pretty good matchup here. So let's head over to the assist category on Action Labs. We'll look up Towns. I got him projected for 4.6 assists. And at 3.5 assists on 2 different sites, minus 135, minus 145 betting favorite to go over 3.5. Yes, JC. Yes, JC. We saw the Cam Reddish traded to the Knicks move. Cam Reddish is now a New York Knick, reunited with RJ Barrett. That's pretty crazy, man. Pretty crazy. They're going to have some more shooting. How many wing players do the Knicks have now? My goodness. Alec Burks, Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett, Cam Reddish. Who else do they have? I mean, I know he's just Kevin Knox, but Kevin Knox, I think, is still on the team. They got, Obi Toppin. He's small forward, power forward. I mean, they got a lot of guys out there on the wing. Whole lot of guys. Anyway, Karl Anthony Towns, a name worth considering for the over, I think. Another guy we could talk about, Josh Hart at 4 assists. He's at 4.5, I believe, on most books today. At 4 assists, though, getting a little bit of a value play. A little bit of value. At 4.5, 70% of his last 10 games he has gone over. That's 7 out of 10. Looking at the last 5 games here, he's gone for 4 or more assists in 80% of those games. It's always hard for me, personally, to figure out who's going to be the assist guy. Is it Josh Hart or is it Devontae Graham? I hate situations like that. Oklahoma City's another one. Always hard to figure out for me. Sacramento, another one with De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton. Who's going to be the assist guy on that night? Ugh. I hate these backcourts where it's not very crystal clear. Like, this is the point guard who's like the traditional floor general type of point guard. And this is the shooting guard who is like truly a scorer shooting guard. Getting a lot of these situations like Hart and Graham where both of these guys can do a little bit of everything. So it's hard to figure out on any given night who's going to be that dude dropping dimes. So let's go look at this matchup here against the Los Angeles Clippers. We'll look at the assist column. Clippers giving up 11.5 assists per game to point guards. That is the first most. They are the only team in the NBA giving up more than 11 assists per game. Fantastic matchup for whoever you think is the point guard for New Orleans, Hart or Graham. Okay, let's look at the shooting guard spot. See how many assists per game Clippers are giving up to the 2 guard spot, giving up just 4.2. So you see the big fall off here. Giving up a ton of dimes to point guards, but not so many to the shooting guard. So I don't know, do we combine them and hope that, these guys like both eat? Maybe they both go over their assist prop. Maybe we take the 4.2 and we just kind of combine it with the 11.5 and end up at like 15, 16 assists and hope that these guys both get, 5 or more. It's hard to figure it out, though. That's what I'm trying to get at. Let's pull up a projection on Josh Hart. We got him projected for 4.7 assists. 2 different books have him at 4.5. He's a betting favorite on both of them to go under, minus 135 and minus 140 odds. So that's why we're getting him at 4. I would have to take the over on Josh Hart. The over on Josh Hart. Maybe he ends up pushing, but the assist setup for Josh Hart versus the Clippers, they're giving up the first most assists, over 11 per game to point guards. I think Josh Hart finds at least 4 of those assists. I'm just saying. Robert, you're mentioning D'Angelo Russell's assist. I would caution you to be careful with that because his assists have been known to go down with Patrick Beverley back in the lineup. A lot of the games from D'Angelo Russell's recent game logs, his last 5, like if you go down here and you pull this up on PrizePicks, you're going to be like, ooh, green, 14, 12. Just be careful. I think Patrick Beverley was out for some of these games, all right? Now, he did drop 10 against New Orleans in his last game with Pat Bev in. Not saying he can't get it done. Okay? Just saying that Patrick Beverley does cut into his assists. It's been proven when looking at the game logs. All right, so we talked about some over options. Let's talk about maybe some possible under options. One guy that we're not going to see up on the board is Reggie Jackson at 4.5 assists. But at 4.5 assists, 20% hit rate over his last 10 games. He's not getting it done. Not getting it done. So he would be one to definitely look at taking an under on. Marcus Morris of the Clippers, another guy who's at 2.5 assists, but just a 30% hit rate over his last 10 games. He's only covered in 3 out of 10. He'd be another guy worth looking at. Herbert Jones, not going to see him up on the board, but at 2.5 assists, 30% hit rate for him. He'd be another guy worth going under on. Pause. Okay, pause. First of all, we don't want to go under on any guys, Herbert Jones included, but you know what I mean. Under on his assist prop, you freaks. Andrew Wiggins, also not up on the board, but at 2.5 assists, you could go under on his assist prop. Got to be careful. Steph Curry at 6.5 assists. 30% hit rate for Steph Curry at 6.5 assists. He's been up or down. Against Cleveland, with Clay back, he had 5 dimes. With Clay back against Memphis in his last game, he had 10 assists. Is he due for another drop-off here against Milwaukee? I don't know. We talked about his points earlier, maybe liking the points. If Jrue Holiday is out, maybe we go over. If Jrue Holiday is in, we go under on his points. Okay. 6.5 assists, though. Let's go ahead and take a look at this matchup against the Milwaukee Bucks. Maybe we don't want to play his points. Maybe we want to play his assist prop instead. Looking at the last 7 games here, we're going down. We're finding the Milwaukee Bucks. They're giving up just 6.97 assists. We'll round up. We'll call it 7 assists, but still, that is the 7th fewest assists per game over the last 7 games. So they're giving up about 7 dimes. We're basically saying, Steph Curry, you are going to have to get every single one of the assists that the Milwaukee Bucks have given up over their last 7 games. Do we think it's possible? I don't know. There's other guys that are point guards on this team. Maybe Curry doesn't get every single assist. But again, I'm going to have to wait and see. I want to know if Jrue Holiday's in or out. So let's go ahead and pull up a projection for Steph Curry. We got him projected to go under today, 5.9 assists. Now at 6.5 on 2 different sites, betting favorite to go under, -130 on both books. So I think he's worth a consideration. A guy that maybe you can take the under on at 6.5 assists with just a 30% hit rate over his last 10 games. All right, let's move on. Enough about the assists. We're going to talk some 3-point makes. Take a look at the guys who have been taking and making the most threes. Could be a good night for some unders. You may be right. Fortnite boy traded. Hallelujah. Is Cam Reddish known to be are we talking about Fortnite? Wiggins. What? We want to take the over on Wiggins at 1.5 threes? Is that what you're saying? Oh, okay. Let's take a look at it. They finally put Wiggins up on the board at 1.5 3-point makes over the last 10 games. 70% hit rate. But again, Klay Thompson's in town. How much will that impact Andrew Wiggins? We'll have to see. Looking at the last 2 games with Klay Thompson, he hit 0 threes against the Cavs, came back against Memphis, dropped 3 triples on the Memphis Grizzlies. What do we think he does tonight against Milwaukee? We talked about them having some able-bodied defenders, guys like Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo out there on the wing. Will they keep the clamps on Andrew Wiggins? Let's go to the small forward spot. We'll head on over to the 3 p.m., which is 3-pointers made. We'll look at how many threes are given up by Milwaukee over the last 7 games, and they're giving up about 3.2 triples per game. So we need Wiggins to find about exactly 2 of those 3-point makes in order to hit the over on his prop tonight against the Bucks. Maybe he could do it. Doesn't look like an overly difficult matchup to me. Bucks inside that top 10 most threes allowed over the last 7 games to small forwards. Let's pull up a projection for Andrew Wiggins. I got Wiggins at 2.2 projected 3-point makes. He is a minus 135 betting favorite to go over 1.5 triples. So there you go. My man Desmond is loving some Andrew Wiggins over 1.5 threes. So if this play doesn't hit, it's all your fault, Desmond. We will be showing up to your doorstep, me and my man Mac B, okay? If you were here at the beginning of the stream, you know we ain't about that, okay? We want all the smoke. If you're putting out a bad pick in the chat, we're coming for you, all right? We're going to be there. Desmond, I hope you're right for your sake. I'm just playing. We know this is all on Andrew Wiggins, right, guys? If he doesn't hit, it's Andrew Wiggins' fault, not Desmond's fault. Who are we kidding? We're just clowning around here. We're talking junk. We're just having fun. Desmond, it's not your fault if Andrew Wiggins doesn't go over 1.5 threes. Relax. We're not showing up. I called Mac B up. We say, hey, Mac B, it's off. All right? We're not showing up to Desmond's house tonight. Mac B wanted to do it. I said, Mac B, no, we can't do it. Can't do it. Can't show up at people's house when they put bad plays in the chat. Can't do it, Mac B. All right? Had to talk Mac B off the ledge, man. He was ready to jump. My boy was ready to jump. I said, no, Mac B. Call off the dogs. All right, so you like the Andrew Wiggins, Desmond. We'll keep an eye on that one. It looks pretty decent, though, from what we're seeing. Who else are we liking here? D'Angelo Russell's up at 2.5 3-point makes. At 2.5 3-point makes, 80% hit rate over the last 10 games. He's got an 80% hit rate over the last 5 games. 3.4 triples made per game. Dude's been wet. He's got ice in his veins. You know, you remember that? Remember when he was a Laker? He's got ice in his veins. Yeah, D'Angelo Russell, ice in his veins. Let's go look at this matchup here. He's going up against the Memphis Grizzlies. Let's see how many 3-point makes Memphis has given up to shooting guards. With Patrick Beverly in, he's the point guard. Russell slides over to the shooting guard spot. And my man's been shooting, kind of like Mac B. Just kidding. That's a joke. I don't know if Mac B's really a shooter. D'Angelo Russell is, though. Memphis giving up 2.3 3-point makes, which is the 4th fewest over the last 7 games. This looks like a very difficult matchup here for D'Angelo Russell. On paper. Now, I like to look at the other guard spot, the point guard spot. Memphis giving up about 2.7 threes per game to opposing point guards. All right. Either which way you cut it, looks like it could be a tall task here for D'Angelo Russell based on what we're seeing matchup-wise. Don't have a projection for you, unfortunately. Let's try and refresh. Maybe they've added some more props, more projections in here. Let's fire it up again. Nothing for D'Angelo Russell right now. But guy's been hot. He's been hot from beyond the arc. There's no other which way about it. 80% hit rate at 2.5 threes. 80% hit rate at 2.5 threes in both 10 and 5 game spans. So, dude's been shooting. Looks like a tough matchup, though. The best ice in his veins moments were in Brooklyn. Yeah. Mac B says we coming. Hey, Mac B, don't do it, man. Don't do it. I told you not to do it. All right? Got money to win tonight. You can't win money when you're locked up in the jail cell, my friend. And I'm not bailing you out again. I'm not going to do it, man. Told you. Last time was the last time. Mac B. Sheesh. Gotta warn these guys over and over again. Who else we got? Herbert Jones. He's not up on the board, but Herbert Jones at 0.5 3-point makes, 70% hit rate. Maybe you could get Herbert Jones somewhere else, but you're not getting him here. You're not getting him on PrizePicks, but he's worth looking at 70% of the time. In his last 10 games, he goes over 0.5 3-point makes. Bobby P, not up on the board, but Bobby Portis at 1.5 3-point makes, 70% hit rate for Bobby Portis. Ant Edwards, also not up on the board. 2.5 3-point makes. His last 10 games, 60% hit rate. So they're keeping a lot of these high hit rate guys from us. They're going to force us into a difficult decision on some of these. You know, out of all of these guys, your Andrew Wiggins, your D'Angelo Russell, probably looking like the best way to go. Probably just looking like the best way to go. All right, let's switch it up. Free throw makes, again, kind of what I've talked about in previous videos. I want the free throw guys that I want to take are the ones that are going to have high usage, the ones that are going to have the ball in their hands the most. Guys like a Steph Curry, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who else fits that bill? Ja Morant, Ant Edwards. He's kind of fringe for me because there's so many different people with their hands on the ball. SGA could be another option for you. Nikola Jokic, a high usage guy. So those are the type of guys that I want to target free throw makes on. Also, I like to think about in technical foul situations, who's going to be the free throw shooter for their given team? You know, is it going to be Steph Curry? Yeah, obviously he's going to be at the free throw line if there's a technical foul. That's an easy free throw to add to his tally. Who's going to be the guy in crunch time? If there's an intentional foul situation, who's going to be taking the free throws? Who's going to be getting fouled? It's going to be Steph Curry, so he's, somebody worth looking at. And I want guys that are going to be aggressive, who are going to take it to the rim, who are not just going to sit out there and camp the three-point line. You're not going to get fouled a whole lot out there beyond the arc. So we got to, have those guys who are not going to play complacent, who are not going to be passive. Maybe a Brandon Ingram fits that bill. He's been kind of getting it done here in the last 4 games. 5 or more free throws in 4 straight games. I think he could possibly fit the bill. Steph Curry, up or down, up or down. He hit 9 in the last game. I don't know if he's going to, get back there tonight. But anyway, that's just kind of my approach, how I like to think about things like that. Ja Morant, we talked about him. 4 out of the last 5 games. He's gone over 4.5 3-point makes going up against Minnesota tonight. He's going to be aggressive. He's a slasher. He's going to be taking it to the hole, looking to get fouled. All right. You got the battle of the big men here. We got Nurkic versus Jokic. Maybe these two mules are in there fighting and scrapping in the paint, WWE style. Both of them get to the line, get fouled pretty decent amount. I'd probably say Jokic would be my favorite out of those two. But there you go. All right, let's kick it on over to the chat. We've talked enough. I've talked enough. We're just over an hour in. Let's take a little bit of time here and go ahead and get some picks, some plays that you guys are liking. Isaac saying the Bull trade just got canceled. Mac B, any relation to Bun B? He don't know Bun B. Don't be getting my man Mac B all tied up with Bun B. He doesn't know Bun B. Never met the dude. No relation. Don't do that. Don't do that to Mac B. I'm warning you. I know Mac B. I know what he's capable of. He is not related to Bun B. Don't get my man's name tangled up with anybody like Bun B, okay? Fair warning. J-Red, what's happening to you, man? Longtime supporter and Patreon, Discord. Let's start with you. You got Nurkic going under on his point prop. All right, let's go take a look at Yusuf Nurkic going up against Nikola Jokic. Couple of big body boys. Wonder if Nurkic has any brothers. I'd like to see a Nurkic brothers versus Jokic brothers. Just a, UFC, throw them in a cage type of thing. That'd be crazy. Yusuf Nurkic at 17 points has only covered this prop once out of his last 5 games. One time out of his last 5 games. Not a very good hit rate there. I think for me, for sure, if Powell, Simons are in for Portland, I'm definitely in on some Yusuf Nurkic under points. Now, even if those guys are out, Yusuf Nurkic isn't really scoring a whole lot. He's not really scoring a whole lot. So let's look at this matchup real quick. Center position, we'll go over to the points department. We got to go all the way down here because the Denver Nuggets are giving up just 18.4 points per game to opposing centers over the last 7 games. That's the third fewest points. So it's going to be a tough matchup for Nurkic. Now, one thing that you could do is go to StatMuse, and you could say Nurkic versus Jokic game logs. And you can kind of get an idea of how Nurkic does against Jokic throughout their matchups. So this goes all the way back to 2017. I don't know that we want to go all the way back to 2017, but the first game here that they played each other, he had 33 points. That's an over. 17 would be a push. You got 10 under, 19 over, 20 over, 17 push, 12 under, 22 over, 8 under, 20 over, and 4 under. So for me, I'd have to know kind of a little bit more about what the status, the situation is with the Portland guards. Are they in? Are they out? If they're in, I'm definitely feeling a lot better about the under, as there will be less shots for Nurkic. But he's going to have his hands full against Jokic. It's not impossible, though, for him to go over 17 points. 33, 19, 20. 22, 20. These guys are from the same neck of the woods, I believe. Serbia or wherever they're from. So I think he, gets motivated here. I think he's going to be fired up to take on Jokic today. Looking at the points prop here for Nurkic, I got him at 21.8 points at the moment. That could definitely change if those Portland guys are ruled in. Now on your favorite sports books, betting favorite to go under 17 points, or 17.5 points, which is why he's at 17 on PrizePicks. So there you go. Cryptic YouTube, YT. Unless you just pronounce that white. Cryptic white. Are you a cryptic white person? That's okay. I know a few cryptic white people. I'm not here to judge. You're liking Ja Morant under threes. He's at 1.5 threes. Wow. Yeah. He's not really making very many triples, is he, folks? He's going up against Minnesota tonight. He has gone under 1.5 threes in 4 straight games. Stop the madness. When will it end, Ja Morant? When will you hit your next 2 triples in a game? Will it be tonight against the Minnesota T-Wolves? Possibly. Could be. It's going to be a high-scoring game. Let's look at the matchup here. Minnesota, in terms of 3-pointers allowed in the last 7 games to the point guard position. Wow, we got to go all the way down to the bottom. They're giving up just 1.8, which is the 4th fewest. 4th fewest. Not a very good matchup here for Ja Morant. Not looking good. You know me, I like to look at the other guard spot as well. See how many threes they're giving up to the shooting guard spot. 2.6, which is the 6th fewest. So I don't know that this is a get-right spot here for Ja Morant. Defensively, on paper, Minnesota been doing a damn good job at limiting opposing point guards and shooting guards in the 3-point department. So I'm going to pull up a projection for Morant. Got him going for 1.7 threes, which is a little bit more than 1.5. But he is a betting favorite on 2 different books to go under. So I don't mind you taking an under on Ja. He has been showing no ability to hit 2 or more threes. The matchup looks devastating on paper for him. Hey, Evan Miller. I love you. Your parents love you too, Evan. Even though you're not their little boy anymore, you're all grown up and you're a big man now. Your parents love you too, Evan. And they're just a phone call away. If you need attention, someone to talk to, you just pick up that phone. Mommy and Daddy will be there. Okay? What else we got here? We talked about Ja Morant under 1.5 threes. Middleton over on assists. Dylan Suarez. Middleton assists. You want to go over on Chris Middleton. Well, in the 2 games without Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton's gone over in both of them. 9 assists versus Charlotte. 11 assists versus Charlotte. I believe those are the only 2 games Drew Holiday has missed. I could be wrong. But last 2 games looking very good for Chris Middleton. Again, this is a wait and see for me. Got to know if Drew's in or out. You're going to, hear me sound like a broken record. I want to know if Drew Holiday's in or out tonight before I click any of these props. But just for fun, let's go take a look at the matchup against Golden State. Small forwards against the Golden State Warriors. Assist category, they're giving up just 2.9, which is the fifth fewest. So I don't expect them to clamp Chris Middleton and hold him to 3 assists tonight. I think he'll be somewhere between this average and his line of 6. Maybe he's like a 4 or 5 guy. Maybe like 5. 5 kind of sounds right. Just guessing. Without Drew Holiday. Maybe he's like held to like 5, 6. Maybe it's a push. These lines makers are sharp. I tell you, they're sharp. We got him projected for 5.3 assists here on the action projection tool. At 6.5 dimes across 3 different sites, minus 135 betting favorite to go under, which is why he's at 6 today. They have rounded off the hook, that 0.5, that's known as the hook, shaved that sucker off, round that sucker down to an even 6. But again, we got to wait and see, okay? We're waiting on the Drew Holiday news. Sean, you're liking some Joe Val 3s and points. Well, I'm not going to let you double dip, but we'll look at Joe Val 3s. How about that? This is one of those props, man. It's kind of like a touchdown prop. It's like boom or bust, or a home run prop. Boom or bust. You're going to put your money, your hard-earned money out there on Jonas Valanciunas making 1 3-pointer against the Clippers tonight? Is that what you want to do with your money, folks? You want this big bumbling goofball of a center here? You want him to make 1 3-pointer? You're going to put all your marbles in on Jonas Valanciunas finding a three ball? Maybe he does. I mean, maybe he ends up hitting, but is that what you want to put your money on? I love you, Joe Val. Don't come beat me up, or else I'll get Mac B on that ass. He's going up against the Los Angeles Clippers. Los Angeles Clippers are giving up 0.99, nearly 1 3-pointer per game to opposing centers. It's like a middle-of-the-road matchup. Not a plus, not a minus matchup. Again, man, it's like, these are the type of props you really want to live and die by. I mean, because that's what this is. This is a live or die situation here with Joe Val and these 3s. Got him projected for 0.8, which is closer to 1 3-point make than 0 3-point makes. He is a betting favorite at minus 120 to go over. Is there a chance? Well, yeah, there's a chance. Sean Spishak, if you want to go there, man, you go there. I'm not going with you, though. You're doing this on your own. Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay Packers quarterback, wants to know about the Josh Hart over on points. Mentioned this earlier. We got Josh Hart. We got Devontae Graham. Like, who's the scoring point guard? Who's going to get all the assists? Josh Hart. I called him the great value brand, Russell Westbrook, because he does do a little bit of everything. He scores, he rebounds, he assists. He's good on the defensive end. He's a good guard. At 13.5 points, you can see why this play is being brought up, because in 5 straight games, he has covered 13.5 points, averaging 15.8. 15.8 points per game. Let's look at the matchup here. Let's call him the point guard. Just for fun, we'll call him the point guard. We'll go look at the Clippers. They're giving up about 23.4 points per game to opposing point guards. Kind of a middle-of-the-pack average matchup. Let's look at the shooting guard spot. Clippers are giving up, 18.2, second fewest points per game to the shooting guard spot. He needs just 14. They're giving up about 18.2 to shooting guards. So, if you want to figure out who it is, is it going to be a Devontae Graham night? Is it going to be a Hart night? Is maybe both of them, going to show up? That could possibly happen, I guess. By all means, I will leave that up to you. But got him projected for 13.8, which is good for an over. Now, one thing that I will point out is that at least one of these books here has him at 14.5 points. So that means their lines makers think that maybe there's potential for him to go as high as 15 points tonight. Maybe. So 1 point of value when you compare him to FanDuel Sportsbook. But you look at the other 3, he's at 13.5 on those 3 books. So I'd probably lean toward the over just based on the projections, the way the money's coming in at 13.5, the fact that he's at 14.5 on at least one other site out there. Gives me a little hope, a little confidence that maybe Hart can find 14 points. But I don't love it. I don't love these situations where you got to try and figure out, is Devontae Graham going to score? Is it Josh Hart? Now, more often than not here lately, last 5 games, it's been Josh Hart. And Devontae Graham has not been covering his point prop very well. So there you go. Desmond, I'm not going to let you boss me around telling me what to do when it comes to Jonas Valanciunas' free throws. But listen, man, I'll do it. All right. He's at 3.5 free throw makes. You know I'm messing with you, right, Desmond? 3.5 free throw makes have been very good to Jonas Valanciunas. What I mean by that is he's covered in 5 straight games, 100% hit rate, averaging 5 free throw makes per game over the last 5 games. Don't really have a projection for you on free throw makes. But maybe we can do a little search action here. We can go Valanciunas free throws versus Zubac game logs. Kind of hit or miss. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's got 9 games. Out of those 9 games, he's covered in 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out of 9. Not the greatest hit rate in the world. Maybe. Decent. It's not like anything that's spectacular other than the 5 game hit logs or whatever, hit rate. Ingram, 22.5 points. Listen, I will say this. Brandon Ingram has been definitely a lot better lately. Took him a little bit of time. If you look back at January 3rd, 4th, he kind of started off slow, but going to January 6th, 9th, and 11th, like he's starting to finally feel better. He was dealing with, I think it was like an Achilles issue or something, ankle injury or something like that. But Ingram definitely starting to get things going here. 32, 22, and 33 in his last 3 games, getting back to where he was prior to that injury bothering him. So pulling up a projection here because I want to speed through as many of these questions as possible. Lightning round style, 25.5 projected points. At 22.5, he's actually a point lower than where you're going to find him on most of your sports books today. Most of the books are have him up at 23.5 points, but he is a slight betting favorite at 23.5 to go under versus the Clippers. All right, so there's that. Giannis 9 Ether God wants to know about Giannis under fantasy score. Let's take a look at it. We haven't really talked any fantasy points just yet, but this could be the first one here. 59.5 fantasy points. He's gone over in 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5 games. So, not the greatest hit rates ever. Going up against Golden State tonight, you think he plays with a chip on his shoulder? You think he's got some extra added motivation? Possibly, maybe. Let's look at the matchup here. He's a power forward with Bobby Portis and Chris Middleton at the center and small forward positions, respectively. Look down here. Golden State giving up about 43.8 fantasy points per game to opposing power forwards. No Draymond Green tonight from what it sounds like. He's going to be out for a couple more games. So, yeah, this could be a better matchup than what it looks like on paper. It's not looking great on paper right now, folks. Okay, but maybe he gets a little bit more fantasy points than what Golden State has been allowing over the last 7 games with Draymond out. Pull up a projection for you. I got him projected for 57.2, which is going to be less than or under what he's projected to score here on PrizePicks. So, he's projected to go under at 57.2. The matchup looks hard on paper, but there's no Draymond Green, so maybe that kind of helps Giannis Antetokounmpo and his efforts tonight. That's my dog you hear in the background, by the way. Got the FedEx guy outside my window here, so he's been triggered. My dog's been triggered. Don't you mind that, though. Don't you mind that at all. Vanderbilt rebounds. Caleb, you're asking about Vanderbilt rebounds. Are we wanting to take the over or under on Vanderbilt's rebounds? You don't specify over or under, so let's just take a look at it. I know Vanderbilt's been going over in most of his games. He is coming off kind of a down rebound game. He had just 5 rebounds against New Orleans. Going back to the 3 previous games, though, 19, 16, and 13 rebound upside. So 3 out of his last 5 games, he has covered 9.5 boards. So I can kind of see what you're wanting to do here with Jared Vanderbilt. After a flop, we go back to a prop bars. So yeah, this could be a spot here for Jared Vanderbilt to possibly kind of get right. So let's pull up a projection real quick on Mr. Vanderbilt. Head on over to the rebound section here on Action Labs. 11.2 boards. 11.2, and he's a betting favorite on at least a couple of these books here to go over 9.5 rebounds, averaging 12.4. 12.4. So that gives you just some initial research. Again, I always try to stress to you guys, don't let this be the end of your research. Let it be the beginning, the start of the spark that ignites the flame when it comes to researching your player props. Aaron Rodgers, you're back with another play. You're like an SGA over 22.5 points. Let's just look at it real quick here. Real quick, we're reaching almost an hour and a half already. Sheesh, time flies when you're having fun. SGA finally got off of the slump, we'll call it. He had 19 against Minnesota, 12 against Minnesota, 8 against Denver, and he broke out against Washington with 32 points. So I talked about guards and how frustrating it can be, like the New Orleans Pelicans. You got Hart, you got Graham. Who's going to be the guy on any given night? Same kind of situation with OKC. Now, most of the time, it's going to be SGA. He's kind of the front runner. But you've also got Lou Dort. You got Josh Giddey you got to worry about. It's just a whole cluster of, like, randomness. Just never quite sure who's going to be that dude on any given night. But most of the time, like I said, it should be this guy, SGA. So let's go to the points category here. We'll just get a projection up for Alexander. I got him at 22.6 projected points, which is slightly more than 22.5. Now, we are seeing him at 23.5 on 3 different books. Only one book has him up at 22.5. So if I'm leaning any way here, it's going to be probably be toward the over. But I'd also be careful with this game. I know it's only like a 7-point spread as of like right now or this morning. But I think there's a chance that maybe this game blows out. Maybe. We'll have to see. Going through the rest of your questions here, you guys are saying Desmond Bane over 17.5 points. Got to wait and see because we had Dylan Brooks as a game time decision. So obviously if he's in, that's going to impact things. Steven Adams, another guy to be on the watch for Memphis. He's, game time decision. He might be in, might be out. We have to wait and see, but Bane would be a guy who's kind of poised to have a little bit of a bounce back, we'll say, versus Minnesota. So again, this could be one of those plays where you're kind of like buying low on Desmond Bane. Now, speaking of low, he's at 17.5 points on PrizePicks, 18.5 out on a number of different sites. Seeing some mixed action here. One site, he's a betting favorite to go over 18.5. Another site, he's a betting favorite to go under 18.5. And his projection, I should say, is at 16.6. So that's under, obviously, 17.5. But we got to wait on the news. Dylan Brooks might be in, and that could just, throw a whole monkey wrench into our plans. Giovanni wants to know Giannis over 30 points. Giannis over 30 points. Who's going to guard him tonight? That's a good question. Who would match up with Giannis tonight? Probably Andrew Wiggins, I would imagine, would be on him. Without Draymond Green, I would imagine Andrew Wiggins takes on that assignment. I don't think Clay is going to really be a factor, especially with his minutes limited to about 20 per game. So I could see Giannis potentially getting his tonight. I don't think Andrew Wiggins is going to slow him down a whole lot. Giannis, 29.5 points. Got him projected at 29.8. He's at 29.5 and 30.5 on a couple of different books, couple of different sites. So, the fact that he's at 30.5 in some places would, again, lead me to lean toward the over on Giannis. Isaac, you're asking about Brandon Ingram's assists at 4.5. Yeah, but again, man, it's like so confusing with him and Hart and Graham. It's like, sheesh. Those 3 typically make up the majority of the assists, though, for the New Orleans Pelicans. So, I kind of get what you're getting at here. Ingram, I got him projected for 5.5 assists. That's 1 assist higher than where he's at today at 4.5. He's covered in 80% of his last 5 games. He's a betting favorite at -160 in some places, minus 160 in some places to go over 4.5. I love minus 160 betting favorites. So that one could be a good look. I'm just going to skip ahead, scroll through, see what you guys are talking about here. Yeah, I mean, if there's like really a pressing question or anything that you guys, absolutely need, then super chat, man. Super chat's probably the best way to get that question pushed through. You've seen people use super chat before. That's, there's just a lot of you. There's just a lot of you up in here. Let me scroll through this guy here. You know the guy, Evan, that dude. Any mods? I might have to get one of you guys. Might have to recruit somebody to be a mod up in here. I could give mod powers to one of you, and then you guys can like boot the Evan Millers of the world if they get out of hand. You know what I'm saying? Killer props. I'm glad you're laughing. Glad you're having fun. Infotainment is what I aim for. Some info and some entertainment. Am I doing a good job today, folks? Ethan, you're asking about some Portis rebounds over, Klay Thompson's points over, and Ja Morant's points over. Well, I'm gonna take one of those, and I think I'll do the Portis rebounds. Portis rebounds, because without Draymond Green, I think Portis gets a little bit of an easier matchup here, and an easier time going against Kevon Looney. Portis in the last 5 games, 80% hit rate at 9.5 boards. The only time he fell short was against Toronto. I think he got in foul trouble against the Raptors in that game. So I'm going to just pull up a projection for you and kind of look at the money, how the money's coming in on Bobby P. All right, so I'm a little concerned here. Reason I say that is because I'm seeing him at 8.5 rebounds on some sites. I wish I saw him at like 9.5 and 10.5. But the fact that he's at 8.5 on some sites gives me a little bit of cause for concern, we'll say. But he is projected for 11.3 boards. At 8.5 boards, he's a betting favorite, minus 150 to go over. But at 9.5, he's a betting favorite to go under, minus 120 under. So it's kind of interesting that he's up at 8.5 and 9.5 rebounds, respectively. Projections love him, but, why do some of these books, why are their lines makers putting them up at 8.5? Do they feel like 9 could potentially be kind of like his upside? I don't know. Middleton points over. Oh. We just got a super chat, folks. Before we get to that, George is saying, check out Number Fire's props. For what specifically? Number Fire's props for what? I mean, I can do that. So here's Number Fire's projections, but I don't know what you want me to look at specifically. Let me go down to the bottom of the chat here. Forgot to type in some more, but I appreciate you. You sent Number Fire's bets last night and made some money off of them. Oh, yeah. There was like an article. I get what you're saying now. Sorry. There was an article that Number Fire put out that had some picks that they were liking. So, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, Number Fire, I guess they do like a daily article or something like that. Let me see if I can find where that would be. Articles and analysis, maybe. 3 FanDuel studs to target. FanDuel, 3 NBA player props to target on Thursday. So we could look at this real quick. I'm not sure who wrote yesterday's article. This one is by Austin Koss. But he's liking Karl Anthony Towns over 3.5 assists. That was one that we mentioned already. He's liking Steph Curry over 4.5 3-point makes. Do we have him up on the board? We do. We got him at 4, actually. And then he's liking Chris Middleton under 21.5 points. We talked a little bit about Chris Middleton, I want to say, but yeah, He's liking Chris Middleton under 21.5 points. So this is all free, guys, here on Number Fire. So you could definitely go check out their articles and analysis. But I believe that's what George is making reference to. What do you think of that Robin Lopez game last night? What happened? To be honest with you, I totally did not tune in and watch my Magic last night. I did not. Admittedly, I did not. What ended up happening, though? Did Robin Lopez have a good game? Yeah, killer props. We're gonna give him a second chance. They took Ja's 3-point prop down. That's interesting. Why? Because we were smashing the under on Ja Morant. Is that what's happening? They pulled it down. Doggone it. I'm just gonna browse through here. Great show, man. First time listening, liked and subscribed. Desmond, I appreciate it, and I hope you don't mind me having a little fun with you. Mac B's probably a really nice person when he's not out there in the streets, putting people in body bags. Mac B can be a great guy. Just looking through. Oh, Brooks is out for 3 to 5 weeks. Is that for real? Twan 99. Okay. Listen, let's do this for our man Evan Miller. Let's do it for Miller, and then I'm gonna get up out of here. Evan Miller, your time is now. Your time is up. My time is now. I can finally see you, Evan Miller. Thanks for chilling out, buddy. Nurkic and Zubac rebounds. Boy, if this don't make us some money, Evan, you are going to be the talk of the town tomorrow. Let me just tell you, my friend. Zubac is at 6.5 boards. He's coming off of a 0 rebound game against the Denver Nuggets. If there was ever a time for Zubac to bounce back, maybe it's tonight. 9, 14, 7, and 13 rebounds over his last 4 games. It's a good little spot here potentially for a bounce back. I'm going to go a little further for you, Evan, because you waited so patiently. You were such a good sport. Zubac against the New Orleans Pelicans tonight. Pelicans, how many rebounds are they giving up to opposing centers over the last 7 games? Well, 13.6. So we need him to find about 7 rebounds tonight, about half of the amount that they give up per game. What do we think? Doable? I mean, they are a tough team when it comes to limiting centers in the last 7 games on the rebounds. Could be doable, though. Let's pull a projection up here for Zubac. Got him projected for 8.1, which is obviously a lot more than 6.5. We're seeing him at minus 140 betting odds to go over 6.5. I want to see how Zubac has done against Valanciunas in the rebound department. 6.5 rebounds is the number. Over the course of his career, Zubac has covered 1, 2, 3, 4 times out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 matchups. 4 for 9 against Valanciunas. Maybe he makes it 5 for 10 tonight. 50%. So there you go. Zubac projected to go over. And the other one you like is Nurkic rebounds. He's at 10. He's going up against Jokic. We talked about this matchup already. Let's go ahead and look at the rebound category and see how many rebounds Denver's giving up to opposing centers. 8.6 rebounds per game to opposing centers, the first fewest in the last 7 games. They are really keeping big guys off the board. Jokic is. So this is a very difficult matchup here for Nurkic. Let's pull a projection up for Nurkic. Got to say that I'm liking Zubac, his chances of covering his rebound prop a little bit more than Nurkic right now. Got Nurkic projected for 10.6 boards. He is at 9.5 on 3 different books. He is a betting favorite to go over 9.5 on all 3 of those sites. He is another guy, though, coming off of a bad rebound game against Brooklyn. So maybe he tries to bounce back, but this is a difficult matchup for him. Very difficult matchup. So we'll go Nurkic versus Jokic, rebounds, game logs. How about that? Over the course of his career, how many times has he covered? We'll say 10 or more rebounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So he's 5 for 11. That's a less than 50% hit rate. The last time he faced Jokic was back on 11/14/2021. So that was this season. He played 21 minutes against Joker, had just 6 boards. So it's been hard, man. It's been hard for Nurkic to do his thing against Jokic on the glass. And as you saw, Denver giving up less than 9 rebounds per game to opposing centers. So there you go, brother. Thank you, Evan. Appreciate you for leaving those rebound props. That's going to do it for today. I appreciate everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't liked this video, this stream yet, do it on your way out. It's not too late. You can still hit that like button as you make your way out of here. But that's going to be it for me today. I'm going to aim for potentially doing an NFL stream here. Thursday the 13th. We got games on Saturday. So it's going to have to happen either later today, possibly Saturday morning. I could possibly do a stream then, but I'd like to do an NFL stream for the NFL playoff wildcard round. So keep an eye out for that. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. So when I do go live for that NFL stream, you don't miss out. Appreciate all your support, guys. And for you folks in the Patreon and Discord community, I will see you soon. Peace.